Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to another brand new episode, new video of About Skateboarding. Now, if you're new here, my name is Sean. I do daily videos about the whole world of skateboarding and everything that's involved with it overall. And don't forget to, if you want to listen to these episodes as well, that they are all over on Apple Podcasts and over on Spotify to stream in their full lengths as well. Now, today I wanted to do a video that's kind of introducing the next kind of area I'm going to be going into as far as just more funner like skateboarding video stuff, which I'll explain in a minute. But basically after this video, I'm going to be taking some of my all-time favorite skateboarding, like what I would call classic skateboarding videos of professional skaters, like they're like the team videos from back in the day, and I'm going to be doing a thing where I'm going to basically be pulling them apart by part of each skater and putting them into this video for you guys to watch, and doing kind of like not a reaction necessarily, but it is kind of a reaction, I guess, where I'm gonna watch them with you guys and just show how I feel, and just what I just love about certain skaters, and go through all that. So that'll be coming in a couple of videos from now. I just want to start getting in on that process because there's so many classic skateboarding videos out there that are worth watching, and I want to show you guys if you haven't seen them yet. And again, they are mostly old from the early 2000s. That's when I was in my prime skateboarding days, of when I was inspired the most by skateboarders at that time. And that's kind of what made me be inspired again to make this video, which is going to be that I wanted to really talk about the idea and just the premise of getting inspired for yourself with skateboarding to do better and become a better skater by watching these videos, and how good and bad that can be in some cases, and I'll kind of go through all that, of course, on what I mean. So let's kind of get into that for now. So again, some of my favorite skaters of all time, which I'm not going to go into details on that on that exactly, because I want that to be another video by itself too. But some of my favorites from back in the day that I really grew up on for skateboarding, of everywhere, of all different facets of types of skating, is of course, I mentioned them before too, but it's Tony Hawk, Andrew Reynolds, and a bunch of other people as well, as far as like just like hardcore skaters, like Rodney Mullen is in there for sure too, and just a bunch of like just the teams. I love the teams that these guys created with their own, that when they ventured off of the teams that they joined, and then ventured off into making their own teams, and recruited that way. And I also love, in the modern day 2025 skating scene, and I'll probably mess up some pronunciation of names here, but Gustavo Ribeiro is insane to me for his technicality. I love, of course, Nigel Houston for how consistent he is in every single contest I've ever watched him. And I've also seen a bunch of his Nike SB videos too, and he's insanely good just for how solid of a skater he is. And as well, and again, I'll make a whole another video about just a deep dive about why I love these skaters from both back in the day that are still skating nowadays, still owning it, still killing it, and then just the more modern, younger ones as well that are out right now and doing all the contests, and still setting the scene for what skateboarding can be. So now that's kind of what I wanted to go into now, which is about pretty much how, when I was younger, in my early like teenage years, how, and I'm going to name a few videos that I think are some of the best ever made from when I was inspired by, and how watching those videos can inspire you as a skater to become better, but also how you need to really also learn to keep your expectations in check for what you're going to get out of the videos. Because I mean, some people, like for me, like, and I'll dive right in here with this. So one of my favorite videos of all time from back in the day when I was a teenager is, and again, pronunciation is hard for some of these, but one of them was made by ES Shoes, I believe it was how it was pronounced, and it was called Monique Mati. I might be mispronouncing it, however it's called. But back in the day when this video came out, and it was on VHS, and I had a little teeny 13-inch TV screen that I watched most of my stuff on back then, because it was just that was a time period. And I remember I didn't, and it was crazy because for that video I didn't even own the shoes, because they were at that time, I only wore Vans for the most part, because they were still somewhat cheap for pricing, because a lot of skateboarding shoes back then they didn't cost as much as Nike SBs do now, like $120 or even more than that in some cases, like they do nowadays. But for my price range of what I could spend on a skateboarding shoe, because I didn't buy my own shoes at that young age, and my mom did, so it was more of a thing of how of the pro model shoes for the team shoes of that brand were just more expensive, and I just couldn't afford it. And I didn't want to ruin, my mom didn't want me to ruin skate shoes by spending so much money on them, or her spending so much money on them and having them be ruined in like a few weeks from skating, although they were made for skating, so it's kind of weird. But anyway, so that video, the amount of insane skating in it is up there. So you have, people like Ardo Sari and Eric Cosson, and just again, I feel like every video part in the Mini Monty video, again, pronunciation, but is so good in it. And I feel like it's meant to be, like their parts with the way that they're structured in the video, because that's also a big thing too, is that for everyone that made the videos back then for editing wise and all that, I feel like they were particularly made the way that they were and edited the way they were on purpose, as far as like, which, like who had what part where, and who had the last part and who had the first part and all that kind of stuff. But just a level of skating, because what I would do, and I'm sure most of you still, that if you're a younger skater, like in your teenagers or early 20s, that you do this now, or at least I hope you do, because you should, from my experience. But I feel like a lot of people back then, including myself, would buy these videos at a skate shop, and then we would watch them like pretty religiously almost. And like for me, it was almost every day, multiple times a day. Like I would watch these videos, not just this one, but I'd watch these videos multiple times a day sometimes if it was raining out, or before, during, and after a skate session. Like if I just got tired and I wanted to go home and relax for a little bit, I would watch these skate videos and become, again, inspired, re-inspired, and re-inspired again. And just by what possibilities skateboarding had, and how amazing how talented some skaters were. Now, the part I want to get into now with that same thing is because as a skateboarder, no matter what age and what talent level you're at and what level you're at, you've got to be aware that all those skateboarding videos back then, not as much nowadays, and I'll explain what I mean by why I keep jumping back in time and how it is nowadays, but all those videos back in the day, again, they were edited for a reason, and all you saw was the makes of the trick that was being filmed. And usually every skater had about, maybe between a 3 to 5 minutes full length thing with some music on there that matched the tone or matched the landing, so to speak, of edited wise of their tricks. And the rough thing I would say to be aware of as a skater when you're watching those, and I learned it the hard way, because I'd be one of those weird kids, maybe not weird, but I'd be one of those skaters that I would watch those videos and think I could do the same stuff for whatever reason, and I'd go out there to my park and try something way above my level of skating at the time, and it would just fail miserably. And then I would have the emotional drop down of not being able to do it in any way close to what I watched, and feel like crap about myself. So one thing I wanted to really give advice on, if you want to take it that way, and I mean this in the most respectable way too, is that always learn to skate within your own means of talent. I don't mean don't learn new tricks. That's not what I mean. And I have a whole other video planned for that too, of skating within your own experience. But my point is that if you ever watch these videos of all these professional skaters, and all you're seeing is them landing trick after trick after trick, that does build up over time enough in your head and your brain and your psyche to where sometimes you believe, which is not a bad thing necessarily, that you can go out and just do the same stuff at that level and just kill it. And I don't want anyone to be comparing themselves to anyone else for skating. That's not the purpose of skating. Skateboarding, the reason why we all love it for the most part, or at least part of it, is because it's an individual sport and it's an individual experience. It's an individual journey. So even if you skate with people every day that you're friends with, your best friends with, whatever, you're on a team, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter to me. All that is, it's all the same. That I just want everyone to remind themselves that you should never ever compare yourself to anyone else for skateboarding, because it's not fair to anyone. And that is one of those things where I feel like it can be like the best and the worst thing about the sport of skateboarding, because I feel like some skaters will purposely, or maybe not on purpose in some cases, put other skaters, not even pros, not even famous pros or anything like that, just put other skaters or people that they know that they skate with on this massive pedestal of ability and talent and mastering tricks and whatever it might be. And then they never think that they never believe that they will achieve anything close to that or become like that person. And it's just not a healthy and safe way to skate, and it's not a healthy way to live your journey, because if there's one thing that, and you can ask any real pro skater or any skater that's been doing it for a long time, that it's just not healthy to do that, because again, every single skater is on their own journey. We're all, at our own talent levels. That's not to say that you can't improve your talent and expand your talent and become better. But if you're but to put it simply in a nutshell, like if you're just learning how to do like a tray flip, which is a 360 flip, and you're just now getting it down sort of, I don't want you to like necessarily go and try that trick down like a 10 stair gap, because if you're just because like you see someone do it essentially, because if you are just learning on a flat ground or on transition, then I don't think it's healthy to go and just try and throw it down on a big staircase and just see if you can do it. Some kids do that. Some skaters do that, and that's all power to them if they want to try and put themselves through that physically. But I just feel like it's not healthy mentally to compare yourself to any other skater. Now, with that also being said, I think it is healthy to ask for help to other skaters, or to build up your experience and your knowledge of skating at your own pace. So, and this is where everybody will differ at all times. And so I feel like it's also like take what I'm saying even somewhat with a grain of salt, because again, I've seen people that are the quickest adapters and the quickest learners and the quickest trick pickup skaters, where they will literally like learn how to do 10 new tricks a day and they'll master it like that day. And I don't know how they do it. Some people just have better ability and board control. And again, don't be comparing yourself to anyone else, because again, everyone is on their own journey, and we all do, we all skate for different reasons, for different journeys and all that. And I'll keep repeating that over and over and over again, because I think it's one of the most important things about skateboarding from a mentality standpoint, which is because I feel like mentality and psyche is one of the biggest components, but like maybe below just physicality of like what you're physically able to do in skateboarding yourself. Because it goes into literally every aspect of what skateboarding really is, as far as like just like what you think you can do and what your talent level is, and how fast you can learn a new trick without taking it to some other level that's higher than what level you're doing it on. All those things. So it all goes into, again, a psych mentality of how strong you think you are with it, and whether you just learned it and that kind of thing too. Now, on the other hand, that's also not to say that you shouldn't challenge yourself sometimes, and that's why I might take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because everyone's different again. But sometimes in skateboarding, I think it is a good thing to test yourself a little bit, not maybe to get hurt in any way. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like if you are skating at a park, for example, and you've got let's say a 360 flip, let's say you have a 360 flip down pat, like every time you throw it, no matter what transition you're on or whatever you're doing it on, you're sticking it no matter what, and you're on it, but you've never done it in a street skating experience, then go for it. Then test yourself out and go for it and push yourself and do that. And that to me is one of the more fun things about skateboarding overall, is that you can always challenge yourself in new ways and push yourself further. And the best thing about it really is, of course, is the fulfillment that we all get from doing it and knowing that we didn't know if we could before. And that may involve falling on a trick attempt, 5, 10, 100 plus times, or getting hurt from it and going back to it again a year later, whatever it might be. That's part of the process of skateboarding. It's one thing that I love and I hate about it, is that a trick can take you out as easily as you can learn it, as quickly as it might be as well. But again, back to my whole concept of watching skate videos and learning from them and being inspired by them, but also not being too aggressive with it, because again, a lot of these tricks that these guys are doing, and girls these days are doing in these videos, again, they don't show the bails. And that's one thing I want to get into now really quickly about the 2025 version of what a skateboarding video is, because nowadays, for the most part, with all the social media, as far as Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all those, like it's a much different an experience of how skateboarding can be found and discovered, and how skaters can be found and discovered. And what do you mean by that is that, again, back in the day, for the most part, you would find skaters in this sense either by watching their video parts in these videos, like on VHS for the most part, or DVD, or you go to a skate park, or sometimes you go to one of the more popular skate parks that's more known around like the country, that's just known for being like having a contest that's pretty famous at it, in that situation as well. and then also just going to like the events like the X Games or the Olympics in some cases, like all that too helps elevate the whole sport as well. But I think that it's really, really cool that these days that you can also just go on YouTube and search for whatever skater you want for the most part, or whatever video part you want to watch, and it's all there. And that didn't exist back then, and then that's one thing I'm very, very jealous about from being my age. And I'm not that old, but just being my age and having just remembering that when I was 13 years old, whatever age I was, that there was not that much ability or that much knowledge out there for skateboarding to be found. And when the best example of this I can really put out there really right now is that, for example, so if you're aware of like the whole masterclass project thing where people like basically give like a 12 to 24 hour video lecture, I guess if you want to call it that, about what they do, like, and then that's why I bring up is because Tony Hawk has one where he literally does a whole masterclass on his history, his story, and just a trick knowledge one too. And I feel like if that was out as a thing somehow back in the early 2000s, I would have become a much better skater much faster. And that's why I think it's cool about all the knowledge level these days and that's why I think I'm also a big believer in why all these kids are getting younger and younger and younger and becoming more and more talented and confident and all that, because they have so much of a bigger pool of discovery for skateboarding information and talent wise to learn from, and to get things done quick and just not be as afraid of getting hurt and looking up to people too. So again, that's kind of what I wanted to make this video about, about watching the skate videos and taking definite inspiration from them overall, but also not overwhelming yourself with trying to be too aggressive for your style or your knowledge base of skateboarding for where you're at, but then also pushing yourself at the same time to become better and then go into other elements on earth to other areas of skateboarding to test yourself out and expand your universe more. So that's kind of what I wanted to go into this video, just a little bit more about just how I do think it's a great thing, and it's awesome to again take inspiration from those skateboarding videos, no matter where you find them, and learn from them and adapt to them and just become better yourself. But also make sure that you are, again, for the most part, staying within your ability, but also still challenging yourself too. And everyone's different again, so I'll leave it at that. Everyone's different, so take it for what you will. But hopefully you enjoyed this video and this episode. And again, feel free to let me know in the comments on YouTube just what you think about everything as far as skateboarding videos and inspiration behind them, and just the whole skateboarding, watching a video and just taking things from it and going out there and trying it yourself too. So again, thanks for watching. As always, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this video, of course, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more across all the platforms. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.